day on Jurassic World. Welcome to day 2, everybody, of the Jurassic World build. Hope you've enjoyed it so far, and just reminding you your likes and favorites are highly appreciated. So, between last episode and now, I took the liberty of just spiffing up the inside of the Triceratops exhibit, as well as giving them name. This is Ross. This is Betsy. This one is Harry. Then we have Betsy Jr., uh, Gerald, and I think there's another one around here, but I don't quite know where he's gotten off to. But yeah, there is our Triceratops exhibit. Pretty good. I'm gonna do a little bit more terraforming in there, make it look a little prettier sometime soon. So I went out ahead and world edited this area out for the next part of our park, as I should say. The next part is going to be more of like a visitor center kind of area. Like we have the information center, like whenever you walk to a park, they always have that stand that's got all the pamphlets and stuff. But now we have to get started over here on making like restaurants and making like a little square or something they can work out of and do stuff with, and like like food and trinkets and stuff like that. So I hope you enjoy this episode, and I'm going to cut to the other cam. So as I started playing, I started thinking, and I decided I was going to make the visitor center from Jurassic Park 1. And to get started, I just extended the path, same gravel basic, and tried to use the little world edit to help me out, and did the same cobblestone stairs in the sides. I then extended the path even further out past the visitor center, well, the information shack, and still kept the same pattern. I used a cylinder tool and made a flat cylinder 1 block deep and I think 4 or 5 blocks radius. I don't remember exactly which. And I did the same cobblestone pathing around the circle. I world edited out a flatter area as I thought I'd need a quite larger area to work with. Including behind the information shack, I also world edited that area and flattened it out. I now begin to work on the walls using andesite blocks, because I thought that looked very nice, and also on the picture I was using as a reference, the block's texture looked quite a lot like the walls of the original building. I originally was intending to make it a sort of quarter circle thing, but that would have been really hard and really difficult to do, so I just made it a kind of an edge, like a L, but with a rounded edge. I was going to round the back corner too, but that would have caused issues in the later building, I realized, so I just decided not to. Now here I'm trying to figure out, because I was off by one block on one of the walls, and I didn't really understand why. And it turns out it was because I tried to build it off the circle and use that as a reference for the middle, but that caused some issues, so I just extended the circle a little bit and created my own edge. There I am world editing and moving the blocks over. And I'm using, the reason why I'm running around so much is I'm using my wooden axe, my wand, as a measuring tool. And I think there were 19 blocks each long and 20 odd something long. There I am extending the circle. Now I used limestone slabs as a it's the stairway thing that's in front of the original building. I used that to lead up, and I made them 2 long and 1 high, like so it's like a 2-to-1 ratio. And then I used andesite slabs and andesite blocks. There, I'm sorry, the camera again. For the railings. I apologize for the long distance camera shot. I kinda wasn't thinking about how far away the camera was going to be, and I do realize that I'm a little bit off in the distance, but you can still see what I'm building, so. Extending the path further. The limestone looks actually a lot like the material that's at the very center of the building, so I did use that because I thought, like, I did a little bit of color palette check and checked it with some of the other blocks and thought that looked most like it and had a good texture to it that looked a lot like it too. Now I'm building the little side gardens out of grass and putting ferns on in the inside of them from Jurassic Craft and ferns from Vanilla. And those gardens I think go 3, 5, and 8 long each tier. And then there's water running inside of them. Because if you look at the initial picture, if you just go Google it, there actually in fact is a what's it called? There actually is in fact a change. It's kind of an angle. And there, I just finally decided to move the camera for you. This is when I noticed it was on the second monitor. I was like, oh, uh-oh, that's a little far away. So I moved the camera pretty much on top of the building. And you can get a much better view of what I'm doing. Now, the walls do angle slightly, but I did move them out and make it angle at a later time. This isn't an exact copy of the building, but this is a good rendition. Like, if you look at the building, you look at this, you could see the comparison. Now I'm making a limestone archway above the door. I experimented putting fossils from stained clay fossils, but they kept the different textures on every side. I didn't like the look of like seeing all eggs on one side and all ferns on the other side, so then I moved to just plain stone. And stone looked fine, honestly. It didn't really take away much, so I like the stone. And the fossils are also various like textures on all the sides. They're not continuous. Now here I am on the inside. I'm experimenting with carpenter's doors, trying to get them angled just right. And I think I just ended with not using a door because the angle of building like that was really awkward. I might install Tinker's Construct and make a door like that, like a kind of like a drawbridge door. But for right now, open is just fine because I couldn't find like a way to make it look good. still experimenting, digging around, finding different styles and variations and ways I could have done the door. Now here I am, I add another layer of andesite, and I make the garden 3 tiers, and then I think I level out the sides too. See, I'm adding ferns and stuff on these sides. And I think I start to add water as well. The angle's not very good right now, I apologize for that. I didn't actually know where the camera was at this point. And I start building those columned windows, and I just did 2. I think there's 3 on the real building, but I couldn't really find a way to fit it. And I didn't really want to tear down the entire building and restart, so I just made it with 2 and used a certain type of glass that makes it look real nice. I don't see much of a problem with doing that. So here I am figuring out like, oh well, I might need to extend this edge a little bit and add some grass to the side to make it look good. So there I extended the edge. I couldn't have made another 2-block door. I used carpenter slopes actually, which are really nice looking, but honestly, after doing this build, complete pain. Probably one of the most grindy things I've done in Minecraft in forever. Like, you'll see why. What happens to the roof of this thing? It's just... ugh. I tried to find a good way to do the door, and I didn't really have one initially, but I do fix that weird thing over there where, like, the slopes, the carpenter slopes, are, like, angled in at each other. I did find out you could just use inverted slopes and, like, oblique slopes and run them sideways and make it actually a diagonal, not flats. Now you're getting a good view of what I was working on earlier. Now I will see about editing the pack and getting these textures connected, because that will look really nice. Here I am experimenting with the doorway. I didn't realize the cam had stopped at this point. I think it's not very long before I start it up again. As you can see, the front of the building, actually this building looks very pretty, in my opinion. It's a very pretty building. Looks kind of like a bunker. See, I fixed the front door right now with the slopes. Overall, this build took probably 2 hours, close to 2, continuous building, taking no breaks. And I'm very proud of the result. Obviously, this is extremely sped up. I'm never this fast. Still working on that door. That door was a pain. Now here I start to work on the roof. I used another hay bale technique because the picture, there's actually a tri-roof of hay bales. and I thought the hay would look real nice on this building because it is supposed to be like Hawaiian style, Costa Rican, kind of that style, like what's the word? Islander. Now this hay bales, these hay bales are the worst thing on earth because the carpenter's blocks don't accept the textures the same way every time you place them into the carpenter's blocks. So I probably went for a good 30 minutes to an hour going through building this thing, and then I looked back at it. It looked really ugly because all the textures were all screwed up and twisted and messed around with. So like I had to go back individually and fix every single block on the front half of this building. I started working on the roof on the other side. Pardon me. I did move these roofs over one block over the edge of the bottom because I did want to be able to build out the roof and then break the blocks underneath, which I did do initially. I do apologize for my skin still not being there. Haven't quite figured that out. See, there's that texture thing. And there you have it. I took the liberty of finishing up the build because I didn't want to make y'all sit through that. But I did the roofs, and I did the two stubble roofs the same way, exact same way, and I finished up the back end. But there's the beautiful, beautiful visitor center. Alright, so now that we are done with the volunteer center, I'm going to go ahead and start working on another pin. But this is a dangerous one. So we did the Triceratops over there, and Triceratops, they're quite peaceful. They haven't really, you know, aggroed on anything. They just kind of mope around all day. But it's time we start on something a little more serious. I'm going to build the Velociraptor den. And I'm going to put it right here-ish. Like right here. Let's get started. So to start off, I just did some good old-fashioned world edit. I think I brought the world 8 blocks down and then made the walls grass. But I quickly changed my mind. I thought about it. I thought, hey, it doesn't make sense to make the walls out of dirt. They could easily just jump out. So I made it out of stone, so if they tried to jump on it, they'd slide. And I cleared the floor of all ores, so I made it stone. And then I think I made this island 3 blocks away from every wall. And I think I made it 3 blocks tall, and then covered it in dirt. I think the back it was 4 blocks tall. Then I surrounded it with a water moat, so that if they tried to jump out, they'd fall in the water and possibly drown, so it'd be harder for them to get out. And I use these cool Jurassic craft fences that like allow you to make these like epic looking fences, and they actually work too. They do 2 hearts of damage every tick that you stand on it. So you have to use 3 different items, bases, corners, and fence poles, and you get this really cool fence effect. See that? And you have to craft them, and they have their own GUIs. You can turn them on and off. If you could hook these up to redstone, that would be really cool. If a mod developer is watching me out there, that would be great. So now that I have the fences up, I decided to start decorating up the island, making it a little bit more worldly, not making it look like they're sitting there in the middle of the Azkaban. And I actually threw down a Velociraptor there, and I decided to go ahead and put down the other 2. and they kind of already started, like, they stayed on the island relatively. Two of them did, but the third one got pushed off by the others. And I surrounded the fences in iron stairs to make like a viewing area for people to like look in and look into the actual pit itself. Then I used some world edit and flattened out the area, and made us some gravel pathing, and followed the same pattern standard that I did for the rest of the roads. Now I did have a little run-in with the Velociraptor, and yeah, they do actually one-shot you. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to leave a like, a favorite, and a subscribe. They are so highly appreciated. And don't forget to tune in next time. Alright, I've been Camo, and I'll see you next time.